is here, Miss Layton. The Pancourt train is due to leave in an hour.
Ida, what is that carriage over there?
Oh, that is private. It belongs to a Maharaja. I do not know which. There are so many.
Thank you. Ida, Tyro. Count Gronowski. Sarah Layton.
Oh, Miss Layton, forgive me. Why didn't I recognize you? Ah, it's the uniform. Nawab Saab and I were so distressed to hear of Captain Bingham's death.
Oh, it was kind of you to write. Have you been staying in Rampur?
No, not staying.
I've just got in from Calcutta.
And that train is going to Pancourt?
Yes, at midnight. I'm going home.
And you are alone? My dear Miss Layton, you must join me in a glass of champagne.
Oh, well.
I am inviting you. It's an occasion on behalf of Nawab Saab, who is not here, by the way. I invite you to more compatible surroundings. We are traveling, how shall I put it, on some private but official business. With young Qasim. You remember Ahmed? And someone I think you haven't met. Allow me to introduce Captain Rawat, Miss Sarah Layton. Nawab Saab and I had the pleasure of her company at the palace guest house on the occasion of our sister's marriage. How do you do? Please. Steward, champagne. We were going to wait for Ahmed, but only as a puritanical exercise in self-discipline. Oh, do you smoke?
Thank you.
I myself smoke too many, but these are mild. Here you go. How are your mother and sister? They're both well, I hope.
Yes, both well.
And the officer who was best man at your sister's wedding, Captain Merrick. Have you heard news of him?
Actually, it was to visit him in hospital that I went to Calcutta.
Really? Thank you, Stewart. But why, what is wrong?
He was badly wounded helping Captain Bingham at the time he was killed. My sister was anxious for someone to visit him, and she couldn't go herself. I'm afraid he's lost an arm.
He had physical courage. One could see that. But I'm sorry to hear he was wounded. Which arm?
The left.
Ah, that is something. I observed him picking up some bits of confetti. He was right-handed. You may remember the officer we're speaking of. Merrick.
No, I don't think so.
He went into the army from the Indian police and featured in the Manners case in Mayapur in 1942. An English girl.
Oh, yes, that case.
In Mirat, I had an interesting talk to him. Are those boys still in prison?
Which boys are those?
The ones he arrested.
I'm afraid I don't know, Count.
I hope they're not forgotten and just left to rot. The Indians remember, especially one who visited Mirat last year.
I'm sure, Count, that they are not just forgotten.
Oh, forgive me, it is an uncheerful subject, and Miss Layton should be entertained. Now, you will join us in the meal. You have some time yet.
Oh, how very kind. I was going to the station restaurant.
Oh, we can do better than that. And we shall not now wait for Ahmed, who in any case would probably be interested only in the champagne. But a dear boy. Oh, he'll be sorry to have missed you. He affects not to be susceptible to the charms of white ladies, but in your case I suspect this is not wholly true. You remember how you rode together on the waste ground opposite my house?
Yes.
I'm confessing, aren't I, that I observed you, but not intentionally. After you had gone, I observed how on many mornings he rode there again, and each time retraced exactly the course you had taken together. Cantering along the same stretch, stopping in the same place, wheeling his horse. But don't misinterpret. Ahmed remains an observer. detached. Because he doesn't see where he fits in. I remember his father once wrote to him from prison. You know his father, ex-Chief Minister Qasim, is still in prison. He wrote, "We are looking for a country, but it is here. And so am I. Now, why shouldn't we stop squabbling over it and start living in it? What does it really matter who runs it, Hindu or Muslim, or whose face is dark and whose is white?"
Yes. What does it matter?
Goodbye, Miss Layton. But he'll be sorry to have missed you. How self-contained you are. I don't remember that. Perhaps Ahmed noticed it. Something maybe you have in common. Both wondering whether you belong. And to what? Dear boy, you look very smart. What time is it? It's a little after 4. With you in Bremanaga?
Is Captain Rana?
I hope so. He was woken at the same time as you. I have kept watch, indulging some of my favorite vices. Wakefulness, Pushkin, and an unfinished bottle. There's a glass for you. Or would you prefer something stronger? Steward, bring Qasim Saab a large scotch and soda. Or no soda. No soda. Here. I have a garlic for you. Chew it before you reach the circuit house in case your father detects the whiskey. But do not get too close to Captain Rowan. He would be too polite to turn his head away. No doubt His Excellency entrusted him with this business for his discretion. But I noticed, though he feigned indifference, his interest when Miss Layton was telling me how Captain Merrick had lost an arm. In due course, he will inform the governor. Bravery in the field and an amputated arm, what luck. Now the arrested boys may go free. The files are closed, and Mr. Merrick's future is assured. No scandal. Le diable est mort. You understand?
No, it's too early in the morning.
Oh, and too late. We are here. Courage, mon ami.
Thanks.
They're here, I think. Don't you wish to speak to the divisional commissioner?
Not just now. Unless it's essential.
Very well.
Ahmed? Ahmed, is that you?
Yes, Father.
Your mother? What news of your mother?
She's well. You'll see her soon.
They let the Mahatma out, but his poor Kasturba is dead.
No. But it's something like that.
And God is good to me. You are taller. How long has it been?
Almost 3 years.
You dwarf me. You quite dwarf me. They told me nothing until 5 o'clock yesterday. Am I free or on my way to another jail?
You're free
On what conditions?
to go to our kinsman, the Nawab of Meerut. Mother will join you there. You will be under the Nawab's protection.
I see. I am the only congressman to be paroled?
Yes, Father, as far as I know.
Why?
Because of my brother.
Sayyid? He has died in prison camp?
No, Father, he was captured.
By the Japanese, I know.
Recently, in Manipur, Mother had a letter. Syed joined the INA.
The INA?
The Indian National Army, to fight alongside the Japanese.
I know what the initials stand for. Sayyid? The INA. Oh, this is a ridiculous mistake. He would not be helping the Japanese to invade his own country?
Thousands of Indian prisoners in Malaya and Burma did the same thing. They felt they had been deserted by their British officers.
You are speaking up for them? Calling your brother a traitor?
Am I? Don't you remember it was Gandhi who called on us to do or die against the British? The situation is changing. The young men who grabbed rifles and marched may look more heroic than the old men who went to prison.
He was a king's commissioned officer. He made a contract. All of our Muslim law is based on the sanctity of contract. We must suffer, die for it. It is in our hearts. What are you telling me, that it is not in Sayyid's? That he is an opportunist without any thought of his honor or yours or mine? Are you telling me this is the kind of India I have gone to prison for? If you are, you had better leave me here. I do not know that kind of India. I do not know such men. Sayyid is not my son. Let me go back to prison.
You can't go back, Father. They won't let you. The plain fact is they are chucking you out of the fort.
We shall see. Let them forcibly take me to Meerut, but then let them stop me from returning to my home, to Ranpur, and to politics.
They won't arrest you. It would suit the British very well to have you say what you've just said to me. They only arrested you last time because you were loyal to Congress. You refused to join the Muslim League. But when a man is suddenly released from political detention and there's nothing to explain it, his friends will ask why.
There is always the truth.
No, Father. There is only what can be believed. Can you still call Syed a traitor? You might as well write your letter of resignation to Congress now and apply to Jinnah for membership of the League. Not that Jinnah would touch you with a barge pole if you tried that line with him. He will call Syed a patriot too if he values his career as a future minister. There are hundreds of officers and thousands of men. The British can't hang them all.
Who have you been talking to? The Nawab? Or that European pederast Brunovsky?
I've talked to them, but not about this.
No? Then you are shrewd. I underestimated you. Since one of my sons turns out to be a traitor, it is a compensation to realize that the other one is not as stupid as I thought. I'm sorry. You did not deserve this. Forgive me. In prison, you forget that circumstances change. Sayyid is wrong. But this time, I must be silent. Thank you for having saved me from making a useless gesture.
Then you accept the terms. Shall I tell them you're ready?
Unfortunately, I have only one life to live, and only one notion of what makes it worth living. Always to speak the truth. It isn't easy to write that notion off as a mistake.
I know.
Do you? You are too young. It was Sayyid. Always it was Sayyid that I trusted. And you? Why are you waiting? Tell the officers I'm ready.
The Congress cap. They pretend to laugh, but they're afraid of it, really. If they see it lying on the table, they might come to the wrong conclusion.
No. Straight. and firm, like a crown of thorns.
The first sight of India after years of war, and no words can express what they felt. The Commander-in-Chief's message said what we feel: what you've done will long be remembered. Let's remember it now. Eritrea, Syria, Tunisia, Italy. It's all summed up in the words, the famous fourth. Eights, for the 8th Army, another famous number. And these men helped to make it so. Just before they landed, several awards for gallantry were announced. But this was the best reward of all, to be home again.
I'm going up to see Susan now. Aren't you coming?
You know she won't even look at the baby. Frankly, I've had enough. Tell her I'll come tonight.
I'll say you're resting.
It's room 9.
There's a lovely boy. Mrs. Bingham, your sister's here.
Hello, Sue. Sorry I wasn't at the time. Will you see him now?
Is it whole? Is it? Mrs. Bingham, of course it's whole. He's a lovely boy. 2 of everything. Well, everything he should have. And look how well your sister holds him. Don't you want to hold him now?
Come on, Sue. Think how proud Daddy will be. He might be home for Christmas. That's what they say now.
How lovely. Anyway, for us. It's a bit unfair for him. He'll want peace and quiet, and all he'll get is a screaming baby.
He won't mind, because he's a grandson. What will you call him?
I don't know. A name's so important. How can I choose that on my own?
Not on your own. There's me and Mummy, too. She's resting now, but she'll look in soon. You're not alone.
Thank you, Clarissa. Oh, another case full. Shoes. I must confess, I'm fond of my shoes. Though I think there's little left to bring from Rose Cottage now. Is anything wrong, Clarissa? The amount of luggage? It is a bit more than I thought.
No, Barbara, it's not the luggage. Though if there's anything more than another caseful to come, I think you'll have to ask for storage at Jalaluddin's.
Oh, but I shouldn't want my things to moulder in a storehouse.
Arthur and I place little value on possessions. Our strength is in the love of God. We'll say no more about the luggage. There's something I have to ask. I was at the club this afternoon.
Yes?
Not alone. With others. People I respect, but whom I shall not name. It was said, well, what a pity it was you couldn't remain at Rose Cottage for a while to help Mildred because of Susan and the baby.
I don't think it's a suggestion that Mildred would approve.
May I ask why?
Yes, Clarissa. Since I accept your hospitality, though as a paying guest, of course, Mildred does not approve of me or what she terms my interference. So, what was said at the club?
It was accepted that the idea might be impractical. But there was something more. It was suggested it would be unsuitable. Especially unsuitable with two pretty young girls in the house. And I simply could not believe. Well, the moment had gone before I fully understood exactly what had been said. To refute it. I do not propose, Barbara, to refer to this again. Inside or outside this house. But I require, for my own peace of mind, I require from you some word.
Some word? What word, Clarissa?
A word of refutation. Of assurance that there are no grounds at all for such a wicked implication.
I see. Naturally, you require to be reassured. Now, what can I say? If it were true, I should probably deny it. I've nowhere else to go. It's a difficult thing for an elderly spinster to refute. But for what it's worth, Clarissa, as far as I know, my affection for Sarah and Susan is not of an unnatural kind, unless it is unnatural to take pleasure in their company and to care what happens to them. And now I must put these roses on Mabel's grave.
Such a wicked thing to say.
Am I expected tomorrow, as arranged? Thank you, Clarissa. Sit alone. And without God. Mabel, I'm going now. Thank you.
Ma'am Sahib, you want 5 flowers. Ma'am Sahib, you want 5 flowers.
Very possible, Hai.
I take your bug rickshaw wala.
It's Ashok, isn't it?
Ji, Ma'am Sahib.
You carry my parcel in the bazaar. Why aren't you in the bazaar today? kia tum bazaar ko nahi jata.
Oh, bazaar chokka no good. He said, bajao, bajao.
The other boys threaten you? Perhaps they're jealous. Too many bakshish for you. It's empty. You're not a pancoat boy. Tum nahi pancoat? Tum kahan se I ho?
I come Rampur.
Huh? Stranger. An outcast. Well, that gives us something in common. Not many bakshish for you in the churchyard, simply a place of refuge. Tum abi ida rataho sanjonka gajako?
I go tomorrow.
You go tomorrow? Ashok, did you see a lady come out of the church just now before me? A Burra mem in a topi? No, doesn't matter. The important thing is, she seemed to be there. She appeared to me. I'm going to sit down here and take a little breather. A halkana. Baito. Where do you go tomorrow, Ashok?
I go to Maharaja.
You serve a Maharaja? Where?
Many Maharaja. Many atiyas. I go ride elephant for Maharaja.
There are certainly no elephants in Pankot. So you'll have to go if you want to be a Mahut. If you were an English boy, you'd want to be an engine driver. Tumrail, Garichalana, Pasan Karogi?
If no elephant, ma'am, sir.
Do you know what those flowers here are for?
For puja.
I bring them for my friend.
I am your friend, ma'am, sir.
Yes. I mean my other friend.
He come from Bangkok.
From Bangkok? Yes.
He's my friend too.
She is. Yes. But you won't see her. Like the friend who loves us both. You remember the song I tried to teach you? About our friend? There's a friend for little children. There's a friend for little children.
Bright blue sky is love.
Oh, my little untouchable. My Harijan, one of the children of God. Now tell me, Ashok, what am I? Whom kya hai?
A Buddhist, ma'am, sir.
No. I am a servant of our Lord Jesus. He is our mother and our father, Ma Bap. You don't understand. It's too long ago and far away. The world we live in is corrupt. I offer you my love and you take it as fortune smiling. But your heart is beating in expectation of rupees. Mine hardly beats at all. It's very tired and old and far from home. Ashok. Chalo. You take my case and find a rickshaw wala. Jaldi.
Oh, Rita.
My little unknown Indian.
Mem sir, Sarah ma'am.
Hello, Barbie. I must look aside. I'm clearing up, trying to create some sort of order. It's quite a task.
Oh, I'm sorry. Is there anything I can help with?
We'll have some tea. Unless you're in a hurry.
I should love some tea.
Aziz has probably anticipated tea outside. Have you not, Aziz?
हाँ भाभी मैम tea.
Thank you, Aziz. My last day at Rose Cottage. I shall be out of here after breakfast tomorrow. Aziz will be ready to go too. He'll wait behind to hand over the keys to Captain Coley.
Yes, I see. I'll tell Mother.
Will you call?
Susan's home again, with the baby.
She's well?
They both are. Mother's brought in an ayah to help look after him. She's our houseboy's niece. Only a child herself. Her name's Minnie. Susan's giving the baby all Teddy's names. So he'll be Edward Arthur David Bingham.
And shall you be happy out here, all of you?
I don't know, Barbie. I don't know at all.
You wanted once to get away.
Yes, I did. Perhaps in a way I have. What about you?
Oh, I shall be all right. I've written to the mission. No doubt they'll have something for me. Something to do. Clarissa told me your news about poor Captain Merrick.
Yes, it's sad. I forgot to tell you. He talked a bit about Miss Crane.
Edwina? What did he say?
He told me about going to her bungalow after her death and finding that picture of Queen Victoria, the one you have as well, the jewel in the crown. He seemed to think in some way it was to do with Teddy's death, the kinship between sepoys and officers. He used a phrase, I am your mother and your father.
Mother. Mother and father. The relationship between us and India. What else?
And death by fire. The way that Teddy died, and the way Miss Crane killed herself. Was that to do with Mabap, too?
No.
What was it?
Despair.
Yes, that fits. It reminded me of something, too. The scorpion.
The scorpion?
Years ago, when Susan and I were children. We had another houseboy then. He was always telling us stories. He told us a scorpion would kill itself if it was cornered and there was no way out. I don't think we really believed him. Till one day, Susan and I were in the garden. He called us over. He had a little pot of something and poured it in a circle on the ground and set it alight. We saw the scorpion strike and kill itself. But that's how it seemed. In a ring of fire. Years later, Auntie Mabel told me that it wasn't true, that it's the fire that kills. But it always seemed to me a brave thing to do, if there was no way out. I am sorry, Barbie, about Auntie Mabel, that I wasn't here. I don't suppose you've heard yet. She remembered you in her will.
What?
Only a small annuity to help with the pension. You'll get a letter soon from the bank in Rampur.
Oh, she shouldn't have.
Why not?
Well, it's taking it away from the rest of you. I didn't expect. Very kind. Very kind.
Oh, Barbie, don't.
And I have no problems. Except what I think you call nowadays a problem in logistics. My little room at Clarissa's, it has its limitations, and I have my trunk. I had thought of leaving it here in the garden shed until I could send for it. But if I were to ask permission of your mother, it would certainly be refused. Would Honor be satisfied, do you think, if I were to ask it of you?
I should think so.
It only contains bits of my past, my years in India, my shadow, as you might say. I'll tell the Marley to keep an eye on it, so there'll be a minimum of fuss.
And I can come and visit you at Clarissa's.
It might be better if you didn't. My room is very small for entertaining guests, and I don't want to push my luck, as the saying is. Not for a while, at least. Not for a while.
Captain Merrick! Get out! Rot this stinking piece of tin! Oh. Did you ring, sir? This damn thing doesn't fit. I told those idiots in Pune! What the hell do you want?
Well, I was hoping for a bit of peace and quiet, sir. But if this goes on, I shall ask to be put back on active service. Better be raped by little yellow ones in Burma. Picking bits of glass out of me perm.
Get out, Dixon. I'm not amused by your song and dance act.
I'll get a sweeper.
I said, get out!
One ashtray. Officers for the use of. Sister's not going to like this at all. Got a fearful temper, that one. Frightens the life out of us ladies when she's roused. If you'll excuse me, sir.
Yes, Corporal.
Maybe you've tried to do too much, sir. Too soon after. You want to get out of doors. After all, that's what they sent you out to Bangkok for, sir. The fresh air of the hills.
I don't suppose it's occurred to you, Corporal, that I might not choose to exhibit myself in public yet. Has such an unlikely idea occurred to you?
Well, sir. There now. Almost forgot why I came. A letter for you, Captain Merrick. Been all round the houses, too. From Bangkok, down at the hospital in Cal, and forwarded all the way back here again. Shall I?
Yes, all right.
Oh, it's from a corporal. Corporal S. somebody. Now, could it be Sandra? Or could it be Sophie like me? Nah. Some other bird.
Miss Layton. Get out, Dixon.
Very good, sir.
Dear Ronald, excuse the army issue, Susan asked me to let you know that she has a baby son, and both seem to be doing well. We are not sure when the christening will be, and Susan has not chosen his name yet.
Well, I said to Sister, wasn't that careless of me? Might have done myself a serious injury. Mind you, not so nasty as my first accident this morning. You all right, sir?
Yes, of course.
Who do I bump into but our senior surgeon? Me with a bedpan in my hand. Well, she was drenched, and me flat on me bum and all. Is that Corporal Dixon, she says to Matron. Yes, says Matron. So the surgeon says, well, it was not entirely his fault, so we won't hold it against him. Well, as to that, I think, chance would be a fine thing. Are we ready, sir?
Just get on.
You know the idea, sir. Toughen up the bits that aren't too tender. If yours truly can avoid the bits that are. Mind you, it's a lovely stump. And I've seen one or two, sir. Someone in Calcutta's very proud of this. Oh, my name's not Sophie Dixon. Sorry, sir.
In point of fact, Corporal Dixon, I've been finding out quite a bit about you.
There's some fearful gossip, sir. You shouldn't pay attention.
I've been hearing about your active service record in the Arakan. According to my informant, you were the one who kept on joking, risking your neck to bring in the wounded under fire. They should have given Sophie Dixon the MM. That's what I've been told.
Oh, that would never do, sir. And where would they pin it? Cheeky things.
So what I'm wondering, Dixon, is how all this adds up.
Still getting a bit of pain here, are we, sir? Pity you're not staying with us a little longer. I know a thing or two about this job. Very good with my hands, sir. Massage, manipulation, helps you relax.
So what's the truth, Dixon? Are you a hero? Or a bloody pansy?
I don't think, Captain Merrick, that's the kind of question we ought to ask ourselves. Do you, sir? I remember what our dear Winnie Churchill told us. Give us the tools, she said, and we'll finish the job.
Almighty God, who art a strong tower of defence unto thy servants against the face of their enemies, we yield thee praise and thanksgiving for our deliverance from those great and apparent dangers wherewith we were compassed, and especially today for our deliverance from the Japanese and their expulsion from the soil of India. We acknowledge it, thy goodness.
Aren't we going home?
No, I think we're going for a drink at the club.
Well, I don't want to be too long. Dickie! Have you got the roses? I brought them for Auntie Mabel's grave because I missed the funeral.
How very thoughtful. Who's looking after little Teddy?
The Ayah. She's quite capable of seeing the brat comes to no harm. Are you coming on to the club?
Madras curry.
It's Minnie's first time in charge, so we shan't stay for lunch.
And I'm calling him Edward, not Terry. I hate diminutives for men. Let's take the flowers.
Susan all right?
Susan's fine.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, Sarah.
Well, I hope you've all got your bibs and tuckers ironed for the christening tomorrow. Well, I've treated myself to a new dress, but we're not going to get all starchy about it, are we?
Far from it. I'm afraid the party afterwards will be very informal. We're surrounded by packing cases at the moment.
When do you move to Rose Cottage?
Oh, 900 hours on Tuesday. Now that woman is finally out. I've got it all worked out. The little spare will make an excellent nursery. Edward's even more effective than a bugle for getting us out. All on parade at 6 a.m. prompt, isn't it, Sue?
Most children wake at 6. I did.
But then you're army.
Yes.
Relax, darling. You simply must learn to trust Minnie and stop thinking about next feed time.
Are you cold?
No.
I thought you shivered. I hope you're not sickening for anything.
No, I'm relaxing.
How's your dog taken to the baby, Mrs. Layton? Sometimes they're jealous.
Oh, Panther's taken quite a shy to him. You won't let giving it a peep. Well, that was clumsy of you, wasn't it?
Baron, tutu ho shisha, jaldi se hatado.
Do you want a mop?
You'll have to change when you get home. Aren't you madly uncomfortable?
No, Mother.
Well, go to the cloakroom and use a towel. Then you can come back and have another nimbu.
I don't want another nimbu.
Well, go and dry off.
Do you want any help? No, it's all right.
Do you think I ought to run her home?
My dear boy, finish your drink in peace. It's only a broken glass.
There. It's all right. I'm here now.
महमूद, हमने हुक्म दिया पैंथर को मानी ले जाओ जाओ जाओ
Don't want Panther, silly dog. Getting fat. Don't want Minnie, silly girl. Can't understand. Do you know what this is? Auntie Mabel's christening gown. She gave it to me. See? Butterflies. Caught in a web. Poor prisoners. Poor prisoners. We'll set them free. Prisoner. Go free. Go free. Go free. Go free.
Sue. I came to see if there was anything you want. May I touch her? Susan? It's me, Sarah. Goodbye, Susan. I'll come again tomorrow. Will you be able to keep her here, in the nursing home?
I hope so. While she's quiet like this. It may be only a passing phase. I'll stay with her if that's all right. Captain Samuels will see her.
She seems quite happy.
Yes, because she's free. Susan freed the baby first, in a ritual, a ring of fire. Like the scorpion you watched when you were children.
Yes.
And dressed him in a christening gown with a pattern of lace butterflies. Your mother says someone told Susan that butterflies were prisoners, caught in a web. A missionary that stayed with your step-grandmother. Is that important, do you think?
I think it's important to my mother, Captain Samuels. She'd probably like to blame Miss Batchelor for anything that's wrong. Ought I to tell you that?
It's what I thought. I told your mother Miss Batchelor was not to blame. Is she important to your sister? That's what I mean.
Barbie? No, not really. Important to me.
Come in.
Barbara, I'm sorry, this is very difficult. Mrs. Layton, Mildred, has asked me to return these to you.
No. The spoons? But they were my wedding gift to Susan. How could Mildred possibly...
I'm sorry, Barbara. I know it was wrong of her. You gave the spoons to Susan, and they are not her mother's to return. But what could I do? Dearly as I should have liked to refuse, I couldn't hide them. I hope you will take the exceptional circumstances into consideration and forgive her.
Blessed are the insulted and shat upon, for they shall inherit the kingdom of heaven, which is currently under offer with vacant possession.
What did you say?
Forgive me, but the circumstances are indeed exceptional. I am not myself. Mildred is not herself. Thou art not changed, and God is not mocked. I have a letter from the mission. Mr. Studholme writes from Calcutta. He's sorry that he has no employment to offer, and no accommodation to go with such employment. But I have Mabel's legacy, £150 a year now, so I can afford to give you and Arthur a little more for my board and lodging.
It's only a temporary arrangement. Your suggestion is generous, but you must understand I can't accept it.
They are apostle spoons. Did you look, Clarissa? Which of them is Doubting Thomas, would you say? They were all working men, smelling of sweat and fish and the timber yard. They'd get short shrift in Pancot. Wouldn't give twopence for their chances in the officers' mess, where they keep the silver. But they are silver, the spoons.
I'm sorry, Barbara. But there are things I must attend to.
For the officers' mess. Of silver. Oh, good afternoon. I wonder if you can help me. Do you know if Captain Coley is here or in the mess?
Coley, the adjutant? No, I'm afraid he isn't. Have any of you chaps seen Captain Coley?
No.
He wasn't in the mess at lunchtime either. I expect he's gone home.
Dreadfully inconvenient. I suppose I should have rung, but I was on an errand. I was coming this way.
Well, we could give you a lift if you like. We're going past his quarters.
Really? Oh, that would be kind. In view of the weather.
No trouble. If you just hop in and mind the step, it's rather high.
Thank you. Yes, I can manage. Wasn't raining at all when I left home. Not that I minded.
Adjutant Sahib Bungalow. Adjutant Sahib. Not too far off the track. It's a bit narrow for the truck while we take you to the door.
Oh, I'm all right. I'm dressed for it. Good luck if I don't see you again. I hope I haven't made you late.
That's fine.
Bye. All protected. Captain Cody?
How long has she been like this?
I made her promise not to get up. After that, I was busy all day. And the boy said she hadn't touched her supper.
I wish I'd known sooner. It's risky moving her, but I don't think we could save her here. She's got bronchopneumonia and the heart's pretty weak. What on earth's the poor thing been doing?
She set off yesterday to visit Captain Coley, but he wasn't there. brought her sou'wester back today. I think she must have dropped it on his veranda and then got soaked on her way home.
I suppose she's quite alone in the world.
Till she came to Pancot, she lived entirely for the mission. She talks about getting back into harness, but of course she's past it. I think it was a letter she had saying they wouldn't have her back that brought this on.
Will you have her back, Mrs. Pepper? That is, if the question should happen to arise. I ask because it could be important. If we get her Everett, people don't only die of disease, you know.
Dear Colonel Traherne, I am sending you today a small gift of silver teaspoons, which I should like to present to the officers' mess in memory of the late Mrs. Mabel Leighton. I hope this will be acceptable. Yours sincerely, Barbara Batchelor.
Well, Millie, you should be glad I came. I've got you out of that poky little Grace Le Favour bungalow and into Rose Cottage at last. After all these years. Well, somewhere for John to come home to.
Any news on that front? Nothing for weeks. Through the Red Cross. Since D-Day. Which won't surprise you. Probably Kevin. Aren't you fed up with nursing the brat? Minnie can take him.
No, don't bother. Nearly asleep. She never was much good with babies. You know, I had to prod her rather to let me come. And Arthur didn't want me to leave Calcutta. But it's a mercy I did. With Susan in the nursing home and everything to move up here.
How is Susan?
It's going to take time. Well, that's what he says. Captain Samuels. I can't say I'm altogether happy with him.
Why?
Well, I dare say he's useful to the army, spotting malingerers and that sort of thing. One has to face it, Nicky. He is a man. He's a Jew.
Yes.
Isn't it? Millie believes that Susan's trouble has something to do with that woman who used to live here with Mabel, that missionary.
Miss Batchelor.
Millie's awfully against her, isn't she? And the estate's had to fork out for her annuity as well. I mean, Millie says if she dies after it's been bought, that's hundreds of rupees wasted.
Perhaps she won't live long enough for it to be bought at all. Crusoe Peplow told me Captain Travers doesn't expect her to pull through.
She's been in hospital for over a week and she hasn't popped off yet. But whether she does or not, Millie says the idea of an annuity can only have come from her because it's a typical lower middle class idea of upper class respectability.
Miss Traherne says her husband had a present from Miss Batchelor. A little gift of silver for the mess. He thought it rather touching.
This baby's wet. I shall have to take him into Minnie after all. No, Panther, you stay here. He's missing Susan, of course.
Pipe down, Panther. Susan Mem gone. Right of a chump, in fact.
Bachagila hai, or usko doodh peena hai.
हाँ मैम जी
Millie? Oh. I thought you were on the phone.
I was. Sarah's coming home from the DAFTA. It was Dickie Bobey. She's coming home in his car.
Right. Must be only 12. What for?
Sarah passed out at the DAFTA. Only we're not supposed to know. Dickie says he'll be back with her in about 10 minutes with some story about the DAFTA being slack.
Well, perhaps you'll listen now and stop being silly. It's ridiculous her going to the DAFTA at all.
You think so?
You can't let her go on like this with Susan being ill. It's all too much. If you won't speak to her, Millie, I will.
Haven't you spoken to her already?
What do you mean?
What should I mean?
Oh, one of us must talk to her. I've been thinking. If Sarah doesn't get a holiday soon, she'll crack up. Why don't I do what I suggested the other day and take her back to Calcutta with me when I go? And then, when Susan's better, we can all meet in Darjeeling for a few weeks and be back in Calcutta again in time for Christmas. Let's face it, Millie, Pancot's awfully dull for young girls like Sarah and Sue.
You used to say what a jolly little place it was.
Well, it's not anymore.
No. And compared to Calcutta, it's got nothing to offer. No madly handsome young officers fresh from the jungle ready to tear the place apart.
It would do Sarah the world of good.
You think so?
Don't misunderstand me, Millie, but I think a lot of the burden's fallen on Sarah, with John being away all these years. I mean, I know it's been hard for you as well, but it's not right for a young girl. It's beginning to show. I mean, with men. And we don't want Sarah on the shelf, do we? You should have seen her when she was with us just that one day. The boys thought she was stunning, and one in particular.
Wasn't one enough? Take her to Calcutta, then. The sooner the better, I imagine.
Millie, what on earth is wrong?
Oh, stop putting on an act. It's very good, but it's beginning to irritate me. I don't want to know the details now or ever, but you can stop treating me like a bloody fool because I know exactly what's been going on. If you want Sarah to think she's fooled me, all well and good, but you're my silly little sister and it would be bad for my morale to let you imagine you got away with it.
You're drunk, Millie, that's all I know. But you must be right. I am silly. Dense. I haven't the least idea what you're talking about.
Oh, haven't you honestly?
No, I haven't.
Then you better come with me. There's a glass in there if you want to bring the gin. Sarah packed everything for herself and Susan when we did the move. One thing I've always done for her, perhaps the only thing, is make sure she has plenty of sunnies when she's due. She's regular, but she has a ghastly time, as I did before she was born. She was due a week after her visit to you in Calcutta. I gave her one of these packets then. She was due again last week. That's when I gave her the other one.
Millie, what do you say?
That according to the evidence in here, Sarah's missed twice and hasn't told me. I thought perhaps she told you, to make you help her get hold of the man you so kindly introduced her to, or to get rid of the thing in Calcutta. Isn't that what this cosy little trip is all about? To fix her up with some shady Calcutta doctor who'll pop her neatly into some expensive clinic as Mrs. Smith, requiring a D&C?
No, really, no.
Well, that's what you're going to have to do, get the bloody thing aborted. My God, I could murder you. You have charge of her for 24 stinking hours, and she's in the bloody club. What a ridiculous woman you are. In Murat, you made that silly fuss about her going riding with the young Kasim boy. Was it wise? Isn't that what you asked me? It's a pity you didn't ask yourself if it was wise before you chucked her into the arms of some randy little English officer from God knows where.
No, Millie, it wasn't that at all.
There's the car. You better pull yourself together. As soon as Nicky Paynton's gone, you can start to worm it out of her. Pretend I don't know if you like. But deal with it. You understand?
Millie, you can't be sure.
Oh, God.
Hello, Mrs. Layton.
What a nice surprise.
Nothing much on at the Dafter. I thought I'd drop Sarah round.
You stay for lunch. I'll tell Mahmoud. Sarah, dear, you look exhausted. Go in and freshen up. And get out of that boring old uniform. Nicky Paynton's here. We're on the veranda.
Sarah? Oh, poor Black, poor Black. It's all right.
I know. I'm sorry. It was Jimmy Clark. It was so dreadful.
Doesn't matter. I didn't love him. Sorry, Aunt Fanny. I know what I've got to do.
The Viceroy also inspected men of his old division, which arrived in India 2 years ago. Lord Wavell told them what he and all of us think of their magnificent record. United Kingdom or Indian soldiers, it's one and the same story, a story of the utmost gallantry, often against great odds. The Maharaja of Manipur, whose state the Japs invaded, was present at the parade. And the Naga chiefs from the hills on the Assam-Burma frontier brought presents for the Viceroy. All sorts of things, swords, blankets, and embroidered cloth. With solemn dignity, they made their presentations to Lord Wavell as Viceroy, but of course it was also their way of thanking every fighting man in Burma for driving back the Japs. For their gifts, the Viceroy, in turn, thanks them.
Hello, Barbie. Are you feeling better? I brought you these from the garden. The yellow ones you like.
Thank you, sir. My sailor voice seems to be packing up. Some might say a blessing. You've been here before.
Once or twice. You were asleep. I came today because I'm going to Calcutta with Aunt Fanny. We leave tomorrow. When Susan's better, she and Mother are going to join us. Then we'll all go to Darjeeling, probably sometime in September. We're going to close Rose Cottage, only till Christmas.
Objection. I don't want you to go.
I've got to go in any case. I promised Aunt Fanny. They think I need a holiday.
Are you ill?
No, Barbie. Do I look ill?
You'll like Calcutta. But my trunk, it's still at the Marley's shed. Does your mother know?
I'll remind them, Marley. He's staying to take care of things.
Will you see Captain Merrick in Calcutta?
I think he's gone. Somewhere they fit artificial limbs.
So soon after the amputation.
It was 2 months ago.
I think Miss Manners must have been rather a special person. She could have got rid of it before it was born. People would have praised her. I often think of Captain Merrick when I'm lying here.
Do you, Barbie?
Those boys, he said, attacked Miss Manners. Suppose he got it wrong.
Yes.
Would it be worse for him to know it? Or not to know it?
Better to know. In the end. Better than to have no conscience. Don't let's talk about Ronald Merrick. Let's talk about you.
Small subject. Little boys. Do you think God is deaf? No matter. Words are no use to him. He'll never see you again. Don't go.
Oh, Barbie. It's not for good.
No. Doesn't matter about my trunk. The toys will do for the baby when he's older. Everything else can be thrown away.
You said the trunk was your history.
Lying here, one has no history. Just each hour of the day. Is Susan getting well?
You can see the nursing home from your balcony. Captain Samuels says she can come out to go to Nicky Paynton's party. That's next week.
I shall sit out on the balcony and transmit prana to her. That's the goodness in the air. You breathe it in and out, like smelling roses. Is Captain Beauvais waiting for you with the car?
No, I'll get a rickshaw. I must go now. Bye-bye, Barbie.
Bye, Sarah. You're right, if you have time.
Of course.
If you meet a Mr. Studholme, but that's very unlikely. He's mission, but very important.
Yes, I'll remember.
I hope Susan is better for Nicky Paynton's party. God doesn't hear.
Hello, Mrs. Squires.
Rather an extraordinary choice for Susan's first time out. A party.
She wanted to come, apparently. She asked this Captain Samuels chap, and he said it was a first-rate idea.
Her trick cyclist?
He's dropping in later to take her back, so she won't get too tired.
You must be so looking forward to going home.
I shan't be home very long. We're all packing up and going to Darjeeling, and then on to Cal for Christmas. So I'll hardly see Rose Cottage at all.
Isn't Sarah in Calcutta now?
With Aunt Fanny.
Are you all right, darling?
Yes, I'm fine. I'm trying to say hello to everyone in case I'm leaving early. Hello, Dorothy. Hello, Mrs. Lambourne. Hello. How are the children?
Say she's rather better than herself again. Susan used to let people come to her. Now she's mingling. Perhaps this Jew boy is cleverer than Mildred thinks.
Isn't that him now?
I'll have to do my bit. Captain Samuels, I'm Nicky Paynton, the one who's throwing this shindig. Come on in. Isabel, may I introduce Captain Samuels? Captain Samuels, Mrs. Rankin, the wife of our area commander.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Will you have a drink?
No thanks, I mustn't stay.
Are you related at all to Myra and Izzy Samuels? They're friends of ours at home.
Sir Isaac Samuels, no, he's no relation.
But I gather you know him.
Professionally. I've met Lady Myra at Chester Square.
If you know Izzy professionally, you must be interested in tropical medicine, too. I'm afraid I know absolutely nothing about psychiatry. Are you a Freudian or a Jungian? Isn't that what one is supposed to ask?
People do. I find Reich's ideas of interest.
And what does Mr. Reich say?
Any answer I could give would be an oversimplification.
Well, it's the only kind I'd understand, so do tell us.
Whatever the cause of the neurosis, the psychotherapist is concerned with the patient's ability to relax. Reich believes that the human orgasm is a major factor in physical and mental health.
Oh, God.
I hope I haven't caused offense.
Not at all. I asked a question, and you answered. And I see you're pressed for time.
I have quite a full afternoon, if you'll excuse me.
Hello, Sam. Are we going?
If you're ready.
Shall I come round this evening, darling?
You must be bored stiff with it, Mummy. There's really no need. Thank you for letting me come to your party, Mrs. Paynton.
Hope you had fun.
Come on, Sam. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye. Goodbye.
I'm quite impressed with that young man. Why don't you and Nicky come back to Flagstaff House when everyone's gone? We'll have a rubber or two and wind up. signalled, or did you see?
I couldn't. There were blinds down at the windows.
Blinds? What was it, a damned hearse on Flagstaff Road? Was it a crest?
I didn't see one.
Sorry, ma'am, sir.
It's all right, Shruffy. It's not your fault.
Whoever it was, they must have been at Flagstaff House, that's certain.
Hand left a card.
Yes. Drive on, Shaffy. We'll ask the sentry who it was, and if I know anything about it, we shan't see them again.
Clarissa?
Ask her.
Clarissa?
Oh, there you are, Barbara. I was just going to see if you had a moment.
Plenty of moments.
There seems to be some mystery about a trunk at Rose Cottage.
No mystery. The trunk is mine. You want it removed?
Be appreciated.
Captain Coley is keeping an eye on things while the Leightons are away.
A spot of bother. The houseboy suspected Marley of having stolen the thing, hidden in shed.
Didn't Marley explain it was mine?
That's why I'm here. Check his story.
In any case, you want it removed.
That will be Arthur.
There's no room, you see, for the trunk at Clarissa's. It's different now. Back in harness. Letter from Mr. Studholme in Calcutta. Temporary appointment at the infant school, Dibrapore. Apparently, he was visited by Sarah. You knew she was there?
Yes.
No doubt she reassured him I should soon be fit again, apart from my silly voice. Oh, dear, I must conserve it for the children at Dibrapore. What time will be convenient?
For the trunk. Tomorrow. Doesn't have to be first thing.
Oh, second thing tomorrow will be fine. No need for you to be there. Just tell them, Marley.
Right. Thanks.
And thank you for sending back my sou'wester, Captain Coley. I came with the spoons, but there was no one there.
No. Thank you. Regiment most grateful for the spoons.
Ida Taro. Marley! Anyone there? I beg your pardon. What are you doing here? This is private property.
I'm sorry. I came to see the Leightons, but the Marley tells me they're in Calcutta. I asked if I could look round. My name is Ronald Merrick.
I do apologize. Of course. Captain Merrick. My name's Barbara Batchelor.
I was Mabel Layton's companion. I used to live here.
Miss Layton mentioned you to me in connection with a Miss Crane. Is that correct?
How clever of you to remember. Edwina and I were old friends. They've taken in the chairs. I can't ask you to sit. How long are you in Pancot?
Only for a week. I'm at the hospital for tests and fittings.
I'm sorry.
I shan't miss it as long as I can ride.
It's fortunate you came today. The Marley was expecting me, otherwise you'd have found the gate locked. I came to fetch my trunk. I expect you saw it.
Where are you living now?
At the Rectory bungalow. You must come and visit us. I expect there are a lot of people anxious to meet you because you're famous. Susan was tremendously grateful to you for trying to rescue her husband from that burning truck. And then...
Yes?
I was thinking of the Manners case.
Do you smoke?
She was here, you know. Lady Ethel Manners. I saw her at the church.
Really?
But perhaps you'd rather not speak about it. Some people said you were let down by your superior officers after the arrests.
They were guilty, you know. One in particular, his name is Kumar. The Inspector General agreed. Nobody let me down, and it's all over. The girl is dead.
The child's alive?
I mean, the case died with the girl. His child, presumably. At least, one presumes she imagined so. Must have been a beautiful garden.
Yes. She cared for it. Mabel, I mean. Tell me about Edwina Crane.
What did you want to know?
She left a letter before she burned herself to death. It wasn't read at the inquest. Do you know what it said?
It was sufficient to justify a verdict of suicide whilst of unsound mind. Though there was one phrase I remember which made her sound very sane, at least to me.
What was it?
There is no God. Not even on the road from Dibrapur.
From Dibrapur?
She was traveling from there to Mayapur when she was attacked. The rioters burned her car. The Indian schoolmaster who was with her was killed.
She held him in her arms. There, on the road. There is no God. Not even on the road from Dibrapur. That's where I'm going.
What did you say?
Nothing. My voice. Sorry.
It's going to rain. I must be going.
Wait. There's something I want to give you. Come, you can help me. The lock may be a little rusty. Only a little rusty. Oh, look! I'd forgotten this. A piece of lace Mabel gave me. Butterflies caught in a web. She wanted me to have it as a shawl. Like this. Here. Here is what I wanted to give you.
Oh, yes. I remember this. The jewel in the crown.
The other hand. Is it too heavy?
I don't think so.
Right. You can do it.
You're giving this to me?
Of course.
Why?
One should always share one's hopes. This represents an unfulfilled one. This is the Queen. This is her crown. The jewel. The jewel is India. We've had everything in this picture, except what got left out. I call it the unknown Indian. He isn't there, so the picture isn't finished. Let me relieve you of the weight. I'll have the Marley wrap it in a piece of paper. Would you be so kind as to tell the rickshaw wallers to put the trunk in?
With the trunk in the rickshaw?
What else?
I'd have said it'd be far too heavy.
Oh, nonsense. It only contains my years. They're light enough.
I don't advise this. Have you far to send it?
Only down the hill to the church.
It's very steep. I think the fellows are right. It's too great a load.
I'm paying them well. They're old men. It's a kindness, really.
How do you intend to get back yourself?
Oh, in there, of course. Goodbye, Marley.
The weight will be impossible.
I shall balance the trunk. Just help me in. We shall soon be on a splendid even keel. Oh, did it hurt?
A little.
Poor boy. I heard you were to be decorated. Did it come through?
Yes.
An MC?
A DSO, for some reason.
Oh, that's very distinguished. Congratulations. I'm sorry you missed the Leightons.
There'll be other opportunities.
Don't forget the picture. Au revoir, Captain Merrick. Remember India, our hope.
Easily some of the best news coming out of Germany today is the release of more and more Allied prisoners of war. Stalag 11B, which held about 6,500 men, was liberated by the 7th Armored Division, the Desert Rats, and at least 15 Allied nations were represented in the camp. Men holding up 5 fingers are indicating that they've been prisoners for 5 years. When Brunswick was captured by the Americans, Oflag 79, one of the biggest officers' camps in Germany, was liberated. There were officers of the RAF, Canadians, Indians, and others here, and even before they left their prison, they were naturally thrilled to the core not only by cigarettes, but by the prospect that now lay ahead.
Good morning, Edwina. Or are we Barbie today? What are we looking at? Birds. Aren't we speaking today either? Or is it a day of silence? Edwina? Edwina, there's someone to see you.
Barbie? Barbie?
She hasn't spoken since she came. She's incorrigible.
Thank you, Sister Mary. Barbie? How are you? Can you speak? Do I live in Rampur? No, Pancot. Rose Cottage. I'm going to Bombay soon. I'm going to meet my father. Remember? My father was in prison camp. He's free. He's coming home. Don't you remember? The birds. What birds? Where do you mean? I can't see any. Are they? Oh, yes, I see them now. Big birds. Far away. Vultures. They're round the towers of silence for the Rampur Parsees, where they leave the bodies of their dead. The vultures clean the bones. Oh, Barbie, can't you remember anything? You said that God was deaf. Perhaps he hears in silence.